Hi, guys. Welcome back to the podcast. So, I am your host, Savana Sharp. This is Cupcakes and Protein Shakes. This segment is called Bikini Girl Chit Chat. So, I have a fellow bikini girl, and she is going to talk about her journey. So, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
Awesome. And can you introduce your name, your age, and where you're from?
I am Whitney Everett. I'm 39 years old and I'm in Tucson, Arizona, or Oro Valley is the actual city, but Tucson is probably more known to more people.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you reaching out and coming onto the show. So, I'm excited to kind of see where you're at. So, let's talk about now. Like, where are you at in your journey? Are we off season? Are we prepping? What's going on?
I am prepping. I am just like you, 1 week out, entering peak week today, or I guess technically yesterday, or whenever you want peak week to start.
Yeah.
This is my second season of bodybuilding, bikini bodybuilding. Last year was my first time doing any shows and coming back this year for another round.
Okay. So, how many competitions have you done so far?
So I wrote this down so I could remember, but I did four
Wow.
last year.
And all in 2020?
2021.
Oh, 2021. Yeah.
2021. Yeah. So last year I've always wanted to go in to do a bikini competition. But I've never done it because time, life, just other priorities. And last year, probably around like December 2020, I had the thought again, like, oh, I should do it. I want to get on stage and actually do a competition. My husband's not too excited about the idea. So it took me a little bit to like replant that seed to him. And he finally, Valentine's Day, he told me he would support me to do one competition. So I took that into 1 year.
Yep.
And, one show turned into a couple shows, but I'm like, if I'm already prepping, if I'm already doing a show, might as well do another show. And so last year, I mean, I was just excited to get on stage but then it keeps building. Once you get on stage and you see it, like you either, I think, love it or not. And I love it. And I think that it's just really a cool sport that you can do. That's just watching your body transform and what you can do with your body is really awesome. And especially, I mean, I'm no young spring chicken, but it's like even at 39, almost 40 years old next year, you can get on stage and it's a cool thing to go through prep, but then also be able to get glammed up, as a mom. I don't get dressed and put makeup on and walk around in heels all the time. So it's just fun. It's a fun day for myself.
Yeah. So did you start right in December for your first prep?
No. So I started March 2021.
Okay.
And I started out last year, I started pretty lean. I was already very lean going into prep. And so I went to my first show to watch it, which is actually the show I'm going to compete at this weekend, the Wings of Strength Valley of the Sun. So I went to watch some other people that were on my team were competing, and that was pretty local to me. So I went to watch, and that got me like fired up, and I'm like, I'm ready. Like, let's go into a show. And since I was pretty much there, we dove into my first show was in June. And that was I did all local shows last year. So regional shows. And then my last show of this season was NPC USA championships that were actually in Phoenix last year. So Dennis James Classic was my first show. and that was in June. And then I did 2 shows, well, kind of 3 shows, all back to back to back in July. So a couple weeks in July, NPC regional shows, and then the national show at the end of July.
Okay. Yeah. So you had quite a year, because that's a lot for, first time just going back to show to show to show. So when you first started, what was like your steps? Like when you're like, okay, you're committing to this, like what did you do at the beginning? Did you find a coach? Did you coach yourself? What did you do?
So I found a coach. One of my neighbors who used to be in competing, and she was making bikinis. She was a suit maker. So I had reached out to her before I even thought that I was going to do a show, just to kind of talk with her and see. And she had recommended Team Flex, and the coach that I'm actually with, Brianna Barcelo with Team Flex. And so I reached out to her on Instagram, and we just connected. And then once I got the green go ahead from my husband to do it, I signed up, and we started in March.
Okay, so that's a good thing to bring up too. It's like it is not only a journey for yourself, but it's for your family. If you do have a family, like anyone that is living with you in your house is going through prep with you, whether
Right.
they are actually dieting or not alongside you. Because, did you notice anything different when you started to eat healthy? Like, how did that kind of affect your relationship in the house with like gym schedules, having more time at the gym away from the house? What was kind of going on there?
So I'm a mom of 4 kids and a wife. I'm previously a pharmacist. That's my career, as a pharmacist. When the pandemic hit and my husband and I were both remote, we worked from home, the kids were all at home, then like remote schooling was going to be happening. And I'm like, this isn't fair for anybody. And I can't give half of my work to, like, half of me to work and half of me to the kids, because both kind of suffer. So fortunately, we could afford life with my husband just working. And so I left work. So currently I'm a stay-at-home mom, which is also very different for me, because I've always been in a profession and making my own money and going to work. But it's been a blessing too, because this is kind of like the time that I can do this for me, right? So it's still very hard. I still have to prioritize my time because the kids take up a lot of time. I work out from home 100%. I work out. I'm lucky. I have a very nice home gym and all the equipment and stuff that I need to do successfully at home. So it's convenient because I don't have to leave the house to go to the gym. I don't have to use that commute time. I can sometimes, go work out. My workout room's actually outside in Casita, but so I can go out there if the kids are still at home. So it's, more, I can work out at 4 in the morning, 6 in the morning, and the kids are still here. So that's helpful with the timing aspect, because it can be selfish, but at the same time, I think it's showing the kids a good example. I mean, we're setting, a role model. I can't be mom 100%. And if I need to do something for me, and exercise, eating healthy is, maybe with prep, it can get to an extreme, but because you don't always need to be weighing food or, eating ground turkey is my staple, but I still think it helps teach the kids good lessons. I do spend a lot of time making food for myself, and then I make food for my family. So there's, different preparations, but you really just have to time manage and make it work. And my kids understand mommy eats different food. you know, and it is what it is.
Yeah. I see. I think sometimes people can use it as an excuse, or they can kind of use it as like you of like, I'm going to be a role model. Sometimes,
Mhm.
time is limited. I have children, I have, I have a husband, I have responsibilities at the house, I have all these different things. And they could say, I just simply don't have time. But you can always fit it in somehow. There's always a way, there's always a window of 30 minutes to escape somewhere. There's always 15 minutes. It doesn't have to be a
Yeah.
2 to 3 hour long process, even though sometimes during your contest preps it might get there. So that means early mornings, late nights. So sometimes you have to do what you have to do to get in contest shape. What is your background before competing? Like, were you an athlete but in like a past life? Like, did you stay active? Like, what was your kind of gym routine before signing up for a contest prep?
So I've always been an athlete. Growing up, I mean, I did all of the sports growing up besides soccer, I think. And then I played soccer as an adult. But in high school, I played basketball and track. I then focused solely on track. I was a pole vaulter. I went to college at the University of Arizona, and was on the track and field team. So I was a pole vaulter for 4 years in undergrad. And then after college sports, I went into kind of triathlons, running. I've done half marathons, some marathons. And then most recently it was cycling, road cycling. It's what got my husband and I together. And we were still big into cycling. However, last year when I started bodybuilding, cycling and bodybuilding kind of counteract each other. So I've put cycling aside for right now to preserve muscle versus get, rid of muscle. And then now bodybuilding. And I feel like for me, it's been nice because it kind of fits well with my family. Although, yes, I'm in the gym for probably an hour to 2 hours for lifting. And then right now I'm doing 50 minutes of cardio a day. So it's time. It's a lot of time, but it's a priority of mine, and I make it, and I'm thankful and grateful that my husband supports it now, and my kids, support me doing it so that I can have that time. But again, you have to pick and choose what you're doing. So I wake up and I, get after it versus doing, I don't know. I don't go out too much or do other activities because this is my passion. So I've always been into sports. I've always been into athletics, and I'm a goal-oriented person. So I like having these activities so like the competition, the stage is something that you're shooting for. So exercising for health is great. And it's, you should be doing that. But I like to have that, besides my health, what am I doing it for? So I've always been into either team sport, individual sport, something where you're competing. I'm a competitive person.
Yeah. Well, what are your goals in this sport since we're kind of on that topic?
I'm going to go pro.
Oh, yay. Yay.
Yeah.
You're okay. Good.
Yeah. I mean, that's my goal. When it happens, it will happen. I think it just takes time. I mean, I'm 39 years old. So is it harder? Is it easier? I don't know. But I think have a background in, so I have good muscle development, but I think it's more fine tuning those, that hourglass shape. And that's what we're doing. This season
I
is
love it.
totally different. I mean, that's the crazy thing. Like last year I was lean. I was lean. And my coach is like, you're not going to be the same as you were last year. So you need to get that out of your head, because that's not where the sport is going. They don't want you very lean. It's more full and muscular. So it's kind of like, it really can play with your mind.
Yeah.
But I mean, especially right now going into peak
Oh
week, and I
gosh.
just sent in my check-ins this morning, and I'm like, I'm a good 10 pounds
Yeah.
higher,
Same.
if not more, than I was for nationals last year. And that's like,
That's only 1 year. Yeah.
right. And it's just, it's crazy,
Yeah.
but it's fun. It's
So
fun.
what are
So
your stats? I'm really curious. How tall are you?
I'm 5'7". Well, I'm 5'7.5" to 5'8",
Okay.
depending on
Me
how
too,
they
girl. Class
measure
S.
me.
There we
Yeah.
go. We're the same. So I'm 5'7", 3/4". Okay. And so what was your like stage weight from your shows? Did it stay the same kind of, or did it kind of change?
So I think I would say on average, it's probably 130.
Yeah.
But nationals, I mean, I got down under 130 last year. But I think 130, 132 is where I was last year. I mean, maybe towards national circuit this year, I assume I'll continue to get a little bit, leaner as the weeks go on. But this morning I weighed in 142.4, I think. And I'm like, what the,
I know.
I thought, because we dropped macros last week thinking I was depleting. And I mean, I feel depleted, but
Right.
the scale didn't say that this morning. But
So
then, so
weird.
I know the scale doesn't mean everything, but
Yeah.
you know how that can play.
Oh, I know. So we're in the same boat, and it's so funny because our weights and measurements are like on the same thing. I took last year off, but my last stage 130s or so. And so I'm like, well, I surely I've added muscle. So I'm like, okay, I've been on stage at 130, but it has to be higher, right?
Mhm.
Ideally, in an ideal world. So I'm like, maybe like 5 pounds in a year. I was like, that's a lot. I was like, that's a
Yeah.
lot of muscle to put on. So I'm like, maybe 135. And now I'm like 137, 138, 139, depending on the carb up. I'm like, okay, well, I'm like, am I
Yeah.
even lean? I'm like, I'm pretty sure I feel lean, but it's like mentally, you're like, I have this target and I have been on here, but now they told me like my mind was come back more conditioned. Like, but now I'm more weight. What? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But the peak week is very challenging. So what does your current peak week look like?
I don't know. I'll
Okay.
find out. I just sent the check-ins this morning,
Okay.
and I have a posing. So my coach is also my posing coach. So we're gonna pose um, today, this morning, and figure that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see. I'm ready for the cardio. Well, so, and that's the other thing, like I've always been into cardio. So
Yeah.
last year we did cardio was, I'm all for cardio. And then during the improvement season this season, you drop all the cardio, and I got that into my head, like, okay, now we're not doing cardio. And then now to like ramp it back up, I'm like, can we get rid of this again?
I know. I know.
But it's been hard. This prep's no joke. And the macros are getting low, and I like to eat.
Yeah.
So, but it's well, and that's the thing. It's 1 week, but then it's like,
I know.
more months to go. But I think once you kind of get into leanness, into that stage, then I feel like it's kind of more, I don't,
Yeah.
smoother sailing,
Yeah.
hopefully.
I think so too.
We'll
It's
see.
hard because it's like at the end, like right now, this is like where I'm at. I'm like, we're so close to being able to like have some more food, but we're so far. It's like yesterday we did 150 grams of carbs. So I was so happy. And today we're doing none. And I'm like, oh, I'm feeling it today. And I don't know. So it's like every day in peak week, I'm seeing changes, which is great. But then it's like the cravings and stuff. It's like you're so excited for your show day, and you should know better not to have these cravings, but your body is just like, we need to eat, we need to get there. And then also, I don't know what your plans are. I want to talk to you about that, but it's like, I have this warm-up show and then nationals are coming. So I know that this is a baby step. So as excited as I am to have a post show, whatever, it doesn't even matter. I can't really think about that because it's like the pro card. We have to think about the pro card and the national stage and the national shows that I will have to do after this show. So do you have any national shows planned on your schedule?
So nothing's planned yet.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't booked anything.
Yeah.
In my head, there's things planned. We're doing this show. I wanted to do a regional show, one, because it's here close to me and I can get back on stage because I really haven't had a lot of stage time. So it's, get on stage, practice, get feedback as to my physique now. And then last year it was more about getting on stage and just having fun. This year, I mean business. I'm not in it to just be wasting money to get onto stage if I'm not ready to get my pro card. So I want to be ready, but I also want to have shows. So my plan is to do this show and we'll see what feedback I get. I'm going for the overall. I'm just going to say it.
Good. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
But to gain feedback and see where I'm at. And then there's a show. I'd also like to get more feedback from like Sandy, from head judges that are at the national shows that don't always judge at the Arizona shows that I've been to, just to get their feedback. But there's the Patriots Challenge, I think, is in Vegas in June
or July.
that a lot of Team Flex athletes go to, and I haven't really been able to meet a lot of them. So I was thinking potentially doing that one. If we need another ramp up show. And then my plan is probably to do most of the national shows that contain both open and masters, because I can do masters. I feel like going to those national shows gives me, two chances in one show versus just the one. So because also, I mean, everything costs money, everything takes time. And I have a family, so I can't just, although it would be fun to go, I don't think I can go to all of the shows, and hopefully it doesn't take all of the shows, but it might.
How did you place at USA's?
Last call outs.
Okay. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. I mean, going into it, I wasn't really sure what to expect. I mean, I haven't been to a national level show. And honestly, I feel like you could place top 10 or 16th place with like this much margin. Like, I really like how they judge is beyond me. I mean, so I think that I felt good. And I don't think, I mean, the feedback that I got was maybe bigger shoulders, fuller shoulders. So does that mean that I didn't pump up, carb up enough going into it? Does that mean that I need more muscle? And so when we went back and discussed it, with my coach and the feedback that I got, I think it could go either way. Nationals, the shows take a long time. So fuel on the stage. I think I could have been a little bit fuller just with food. And then basically, I mean, just getting, I think going into each of the shows, that's what I was most excited about, is getting the feedback from the judges to see, you know, what changes can I make? What changes should I make? How am I looking? How to perfect my physique to improve? So we took that feedback from the national show and really just decided to end my season there, mainly because I mean I had a lot of shows, you know, and so I thought it was time to go into an improvement season. And really just I don't think the goal wasn't to grow my shoulders. They probably, you know, or they did grow, but I think mostly the feedback really is just come in fuller. I think I was just a little bit too lean.
Yeah. And so I think that's the same thing too. It's like, you don't necessarily, you have to take the feedback with a grain of salt, because you don't know if it is actually like you need to make improvements, or if you are like pumping or carbs or
Right.
the food. So it's like literally splitting hairs at the national level, because it
Mhm.
has to be everything, all the details have to be taken care of. It has to be perfect from head to toe. Like
Yeah.
there's no airs. And so at that level, like there's just so many girls. And so it's even if we get last call outs, like I don't consider myself a last call out person,
Right.
you know, I'm like, I
Yeah.
can do better. So that's definitely what I focused on in this
Yeah.
improvement season. It's just like, you know, that wasn't my day, and that's all you can
Well,
do.
and you see that with other competitors. I mean, they go from one national show a week, maybe a month earlier, and they got 14th place, and then they go to the next show and they turn pro. And it's
Exactly.
like you don't make that many changes or that big of a change in such a short amount of time, especially in prep. So there's so much. The nutrition plays, the timing of it. I mean, even on show day, like you can look one thing an hour earlier and you step on stage and you look completely different. Like
Exactly.
it's crazy
It
how
is
much
crazy because you're so
it can change.
sensitive when you're lean.
Mhm.
So like all
Yeah.
those different variables. So just like I'm this year, the mindset has switched. It's more of like, I think when I went to my first national show, I remember feeling so much pressure to turn pro at like my first year. It was like I had to place to like, it was almost like I had to do this, and I was like really stressed out and like really overthinking it instead of going there to have fun. And so
Mhm.
it became so stressful that I think it showed up on my physique, which did the opposite of what I had wanted it to do. So like all of that stress of like putting this pressure on yourself, and then when you're backstage and then you see all these athletes and then you're like second guessing it. And
Get in
I
your
think in your
head.
head you are looking around and you go, uh-oh, I don't know about
Uh-huh.
this. You're like, okay, yeah, I think I worked hard, but look at that girl over there, she looks real
Mhm.
good, she looks real good over there. It's like, oh, everybody looks good here. And so it kind of
Right.
opens up your eyes when you step on the national stage of like, oh, okay, there is another level to this. Isn't something that's going to
Mhm.
be easy.
Right.
So that experience I really recommend for all competitors. Like, even if you're not technically ready to be a pro, like take your physique to the national stage just to
Mhm.
get the feedback, just to get the experience alone. So you could
Right.
stand, you know, maybe even alongside someone who turns pro, or
Mhm.
like being in the, and you know what to expect. So then you can come back
Yeah.
and be prepared for it.
Well, and I think it's just the more stages that you're on, the more feedback that you can get, the more data points too. Like even because I think that that's something that we're learning and that I definitely want to keep better track of on peak week, on show day. Like how are you carving up? Because that makes a huge difference. And
Yeah.
I'm still a newbie. I mean, I
Yeah.
consider myself new, like, and so learning how to best carb my body up, or how to best, make me look fuller. I'm very good at executing. I like people to tell me what to do, and I'll do it. But I want to take a little bit more initiative also, so that I know, because my coach isn't always there. Or, something good with Team Flex, they usually have a show day coach there, but that doesn't mean that they're my coach. They don't know my body. I need to know my body best so that I can be prepared on show day. So that's, I think, why I like to do the different shows too, is just for that practice.
Yeah, I agree too. So we've talked a little bit about diet and stuff, but what I don't think we've touched at all on posing. So was posing something that came natural to you with stage presence? How did you learn it? Was it hard? Are you working on it? What about posing?
So back in 2008, I've never been on stage. I'm not a dancer or have any background of performing or being on stage. So that part's definitely new to me. Mm-hmm. In 2018, 2017, I don't remember the exact years, but I attempted to go on to stage, and I was in prep to do a competition and didn't end up doing it. I felt like posing that go around was super hard. This time, since being with my coach and posing with her, and she breaks it down very simply. Like, I feel like I've got it, like it clicked faster last year and in this prep. And by no means am I a professional at posing, but I think that I have like these, the few poses that we do in the NPC level down, and it's just practicing them to make sure, because those tiny foot changes can make a big difference. So making sure that I have that muscle memory down, I think that it's helpful. I think my stage presence has been good. The feedback that I've gotten, maintaining eye contact with the judges and feeling confident. I'm a confident person up on stage, and I think that that's your time to really show what you've done. So as long as I don't fall or trip on stage, then I feel like I do a decent job. And it's always, once a month I practice with my coach, a posing session, and then just on my own. I can't say that I pose every day, because I don't. I'm just going to be honest. I think that it's helpful if you need it. And if you're not comfortable walking in heels, if you're not comfortable doing the poses, it definitely helps, and you should. But I'm pretty comfortable. And it seems like each time I send the check-in videos and stuff, my placements are on point. So I think that I have that part down, but still fine tuning, because as your body changes, your posing changes a little bit.
Yeah.
So
I agree too. Posing is something too, like, sometimes you just get it. And once you get it, it's hard to unget it. So it's like, so the same thing with me. It's like, I used to, at the beginning, practice a ton. I used to, like, when I was a first time competitor, I would practice literally like every day as much as I could. And then, so as the more I gotten comfortable, I do it less. But when I do it, I just be very mindful of it. You know what I mean? Like, once we found our front pose, like, I know where I need to get to. So it's maybe like 3 times a week, actually, like, like, this is the most that I've ever done. But every once in a while, in the gym, you hit a little pose, and it's always in your head, in the back of your mind. But
like, I'll pose like when I'm working out, like in my shoes or in my, workout gear, but actually getting into a bikini and into my heels, I don't do that as often. I know it doesn't take a lot of time to strap on the heels, but sometimes taking 5 minutes or 10 minutes, I don't have that. So I don't do it. But you pose, I mean, I'm always trying to tweak, and that is one recommendation that I would have for definitely for new competitors, is to hold your poses, like practice in your heels, like being in your heels for a good amount of time, because that can, I remember one show, I mean, I was on that stage for what felt like it, I mean, forever, like, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes maybe. And you're always in front of the judge. So you're holding that front pose, and that you're sore. Like,
No.
it's
Oh gosh,
crazy.
it's
Coming
so painful.
after show day,
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't feel like I did much, but you're extremely sore. So
It
definitely
is uncomfortable.
practice.
It's super
Practice
uncomfortable
holding it.
being, yeah. So that's like, I call them posing planks. It's where it's like
Yeah.
you're literally holding your front pose for like minutes
Yes.
on end, because on stage, there is a chance
Mm.
sometimes they will keep you on stage and they're like, let's just make them work. Like, let's see
Yeah.
who's conditioned. Let's see whose back can not give out. Let's see it. So I remember my lat at USA's, I could feel it start to quiver and like like my, out of all places, like right here, because I was like flaring it and stuff in my front pose, and I'm like feeling it like start to like cramp and stuff. I'm like, oh gosh,
Right.
hold steady. And it's like I didn't have a ton of water, so like my feet start to cramp, and I get really bad Charlie horses, and my feet go like this, and it's so painful, and I can start feeling them on stage do that like claw foot thing. And if it happens, like I have to massage it or like let it out or stretch it. And I'm like, I can't. I was like, I can't. I was like, I have to literally, like, please body cooperate with me right now. I was like, please, it's only a few minutes. But the stage time, it's like you're in slow motion. You're just like, holy cow, how long was I up there? 2 minutes. It's like, oh, I felt like I was on there for an eternity, because
Right.
it's the adrenaline rush, and then there's just so much going on stage.
Yeah. And I think the regional shows, I mean, depending on how big the shows are, because they keep everybody on stage generally too in the regional shows. The national shows were a little bit different, so you weren't quite on stage as much, but still, I mean, it's just, it depends on the show. But I would definitely practice that, and practice, the vacuums, the ab control, because any breath, they're looking at you. So
yeah, stage is fun, but it's hard. Like I get so sore that Sunday after. It feels like it feels like you binge drank for like 3 days straight at a festival. You get off Sunday morning, you wake up and you're like, what just happened? You're like, what? I didn't work out and I got to eat all these carbs. Why do I feel so bad today? But just the stress of the weekend, always that Sunday after is tough.
Part of it too, I think, is dehydration, because you're not drinking as much, and it's just it's a crazy day.
It is, and we're gonna be there
2 days
next week.
Once you get that first tan, it's like, I feel like that's the most stressed that night. So Friday night, when I'm tanned and I'm trying not to like ruin my tan, that's what causes the most stress for me. Like, once we're on stage, we're good, because then it's all done. But I never want to ruin that tan.
Yeah, I think I stress now. I can tell, like, I can't hear things right. I'll just be responding like, yeah, it's like everyone is like, are you all right? Like, I'm like, sorry, I'm thinking about all the stuff I need to do this week, and pack and nails and flights, and I just know that my prep brain gets very forgetful and bad, and so I know that. So I've really made sure I stay organized of like, have alarm set, have calendar set, have everything set. It was like, I just don't want to miss something that's really
Right.
important. And like, I can't really think if I missed anything, like, did I book my tanning? Did I book my hair? Did I think I booked it, but I didn't book it. So I go through all this up until, but when I get tan, that's when I can be like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I was like, you know what? I'm good. So, that's going to be us next week, which is so fun. It's awesome that, it's happening so soon.
I know. It's kind of like, it's like a hurry up and wait sort of thing too, show day and show week. And really like the prep, you feel like it's going to be forever until you get on stage. And then it's like, here, you're like, what just happened to the last 12 weeks or 16 or however many?
The prep went by fast this time, and I told myself it was going to go by fast, and so I knew it was going to happen. And then we changed my workout, and I think I just had my last like shoulder workout, like official shoulder day, and my last glute day last week, and I didn't even know it was like my last one, and so I'm like, wow, okay, well, we're doing this, and pretty soon, was like, there's no turning back. It's like, it's too late. Like, the work's been done, I guess, which is awesome. So like, what is your mindset going on? Like right before you get on stage, or maybe this week, like where do you take yourself mindset wise?
I think right now, especially because I'm still trying to get into the new mindset, I'm still thinking like, am I lean enough? Am I ready to be on stage? Like, am I really there? Because again, I don't want to show up not being ready. That's, I think that's my fear. But so I think trying to shift that mindset, like when I sent to my coach, I'm like, I know I'm ready. I know that I'm lean enough. I know the goal was not to come in super shredded. Like that's not what we're looking for. That's not what they're looking for. So, but it's still, changing me, having to change my mind. So I told her, like, I'm going for the overall. That's what I'm going for. And I'm going to do it. Why not? Why not me? I don't know who's showing up. I can't control that. I can only control myself. So as long as I'm, I think if I bring that confidence, if I bring the fun, and I've put in the work, like I work hard. I work hard every day. I work hard in the gym, out of the gym, for my family, for myself, like, like you do the work. I know everybody does the work. So everybody's coming in with that mindset, or should be coming in with that mindset, even, so I think just knowing that I'm doing what has been told to me to do, as long as I execute that, then we're going to get feedback and go from there. So is the feedback to get leaner? That would be fabulous, because that really can be done easily, right? I mean, easy is not easy, but but that's better feedback than you're too small. Like you need to grow, right? Because that can't be done in a month. Well, not easily, but so I think and that's how I go into every show. I want to win because I'm competitive, and I that's what I want. But I also go into the show knowing that this is just another piece of feedback that we can get and go from there. This isn't the ultimate show, right? This is the regional level show to gain that feedback, to get ready for nationals. So knowing that this might not be my 100, like I'm not peaking at this point, is just kind of where I'm at. And hopefully I succeed.
Awesome. Okay. So I have one last question for you, and I think that's a great stopping point. So are you team cupcake or protein shake?
So I love sweets. I'd be team cupcake, except more like team cookie.
Okay. Yes.
Cookie, brownie,
Yes.
cupcake mixture would
Uh-huh.
be fabulous.
Okay. And what is your ideal cookie for post show or something?
Well, I like oatmeal.
Yes.
So probably, and chocolate, peanut butter mixture
Yes.
would
Yes. Oh,
be, and gooey,
uh-huh. Obviously.
doughy,
Okay.
big, because
Yes.
go big or go home. I
Right.
mean, you know.
Awesome.
So
Perfect.
yes.
Okay. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you wanted to share, or just like any last words of advice?
I guess just for probably for moms or for older people like myself, I think at any age you can go into this sport, and that's the beauty of it. You can do it as a mom. You can, it doesn't, it takes a lot of time and it takes dedication, but you'd be surprised, as if you put that goal in your mind, even if you don't want to get on stage. I think just knowing that lifting weights is good for you, and to prioritize yourself, because you can get lost in being a mom or be in your job, or you can get lost and not take care of yourself. But you really should at least give yourself a little bit of time, and so come out and join us, bring
Yay.
more, right, bring more competitors to
I
the
know.
stage. It's fun, and I'm looking forward to this season, really, to meet more people. I'm sure I'll see you in person
Yeah.
on the national stage, so I'm excited to meet more friends.
I know. Awesome. Well, yeah, I'll be probably doing as many as it takes. Hopefully it doesn't take too many. But I'll be in my back of my head. I have all the national shows planned this
Mhm.
year. So if needed.
Yeah, I think the first one, which NPC Universe,
In June. Yeah.
the July 1st, I think, is when like we would go, but the end of June, I
Yeah.
think that's the first national show that I would probably
Yeah.
be shooting for.
Yeah.
I
I'm gonna
mean,
do
it's up
the
in the
May
air, but
one, the junior USA's in May is what I'm planning. It's
yes,
depending on how this next week goes. I have to get top
yes.
two. So if I get top two, then we're doing it. If I don't, then I have no idea what's gonna happen, but we're gonna think
You're
positive
just gonna
thoughts. So
get it.
we're just gonna
Get
get
it.
it and then
Yep.
we'll see what happens.
And go.
Awesome. Well,
Nice.
I appreciate you coming on the podcast. And don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll put this episode up on this upcoming Wednesday. So it'll be up on YouTube and all the other platforms too.
Thank you.